Tuesday, March 4th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. A lot to talk about in today's edition of the video. What an interesting weather day yesterday. We had just massive temperature drops throughout the day. There's your highs yesterday. Across North Carolina, most of those high temperatures occurred very, very early in the morning, and then many spots saw 30 to even 40 degree temperature drops from those morning highs to temperatures by late afternoon and the evening. Currently, it is bitterly cold out there. 15 degrees in Greensboro. Reidsville's been in the single digits this morning. 17 in Raleigh, 22 in Charlotte, 20 in Boone, 20 in Fayetteville this morning, even along the coast, 27 in Wilmington. A lot of slick spots on roads this morning, and travel in many spots kind of discouraged for a little while this morning with those icy conditions, especially I-40 and points north. Now, there's your wind chills. Enough wind still stirring around that it's adding insult to injury this morning. 6 the wind chill in Greensboro, 8 in Raleigh, 0 in Richmond, 9 in Fayetteville. It is a cold March morning out there across the region. Now, this is what the radar looked like as we went through yesterday. That cold air worked in from north to south. And you continue to have some precipitation move on the backside of that cold air throughout the day. Rain kicked over to a wintry mix by lunchtime of the Triad. And then really in that area, you had a pretty good little burst of some snow for a period of time, late afternoon into early evening. Now all that's gone now. And it's going to be a quiet day for most of the region today. There's the radar, no problems. It is yet another ice event deep down into Texas this morning. Places like Austin and the northern suburbs of Houston, seeing some ice again this morning, deep down in Louisiana as well. What a winter it has been for spots very far south that don't typically see a lot of wintry weather. Now, as we go through the course of today, pretty quiet setup. It's going to be a cold day, though. Highs struggle to make the low 40s in many spots out there across the region with that chilly high pressure building on in. Now that Texas disturbance scrapes to our south tomorrow. That'll bring probably a little rain to the eastern Carolinas, but the I-85 corridor should miss out on that. But then we gear up for the next low pressure. It's going to develop in the Gulf of Mexico and lift up off the Carolina coast by later Thursday. And I'll show you the detailed modeling on this in just a second. But here's the NAM representation. It is cold enough for wintry precip, I-85 and points north and west. European is too, although it's borderline. It does indeed print out some snow with this system. There's the snow totals from the overnight 0Z run of the European model. GFS, not as excited. I believe this is still the 0Z data in the system here. And the 6Z run is very unimpressive overall. I just got a glimpse of that, but it hasn't made it into the graphic system here just yet. Now let me go to some of the more detailed modeling. Let's start out with the Canadian. And here's the deal. It all kind of boils down to this. Are we going to see this closed upper air feature develop? It is a much weaker, more open feature on the GFS, but most other modeling has it as an upper level feature that closes off, meaning it's pretty intense as it moves through. So that's the Canadian. That's what it looks like precipitation-wise. Nice, heavy band of precipitation on the northwest side of that coastal low associated with the upper level feature. That's Thursday night on the Canadian. In terms of precipitation types, there's just a snapshot from that Thursday night time frame. It's about 2 a.m., I guess 1 a.m. Eastern time. And again, same idea there, I-85 points north and west, seeing a wintry mix. Now let's go to the European. There you go, that closed scenario in play there on the European model. So at the surface, there's your precipitation fields. This is late Thursday evening. Low pressure in North Florida. High pressure wedging down the eastern side of the mountains, and that high pressure has been trending a little stronger and a little bit colder on each run. And that's oftentimes what happens when you're looking at a cold air damming scenario. All right, so that's what the precipitation field looks like. It's made it to roughly I-40 or so on the European by Thursday evening. 850 temperatures, sub-freezing in northwestern North Carolina down to Hickory or so. And then we go 6 hours later. System really beginning to crank that precip on the northwest side. Georgia, upstate of South Carolina, much of North Carolina, surface temperatures at that point in time sub-freezing. In northwestern North Carolina, 850 millibar temperatures, right at freezing, all the way down into Alabama. I mean, this is a scenario where you have a lot of folks in this corridor that have 850 temperatures plus or minus 1 degree. And so you're looking at, if the rates of precipitation were heavy enough, I would wager that that is snow. if, again, the rates of precipitation are high enough. Now you go a little bit later. This is Friday around daybreak, low pressure east of Myrtle Beach and Charleston. At that point in time, there's your surface temperature, sub-freezing I-40 and points north, 850 temperatures, same scenario, that same corridor right at within a degree of 0 Celsius. Finally, the system pulls away slowly. It's a much slower solution on the European than some other modeling, but finally that low crawls away rather, as we go through Friday. And again, same deal. On the backside, under the northwest side of that upper level low, 850 temperatures, probably cold enough to support snow in the heavier precip. Now, GFS, look at that. It never closes off the feature. It doesn't on the 60 run either. And so you end up with not as nearly intense of a system. There's your initial wave of precip interacting with the cold air damming, but you never really get a lot of that band on the northwest side of the upper level low form, because there's really no upper level low on the GFS. Now the NAM is in agreement with the European and the Canadian overall. This was the 60 NAM, and it's impressive. Now there's your precipitation fields Thursday late afternoon. 850 temperatures, again flirting with 0 in much of North Carolina, down into even the northern upstate of South Carolina. Temperatures just above freezing at that hour, but watch what happens the next hour, and then the 3 to 6 hours later, you're looking at, there they go. Your sub-freezing temperatures have dipped down in the northern upstate. Now that was your precipitation chart there. This is overnight, Thursday night. 850 temperatures, solidly 0 or below in much of northern and central North Carolina into the northern upstate. And so that's a pretty significant winter hit on the NAM. All right, there's your surface temperatures again. So that's valid a little bit before midnight or so, late evening, Thursday evening. And then we go on out to 75 hours, which is the pre-dawn hours Friday morning. Precipitation beginning to pull out, still looking at surface temperatures below freezing in a good chunk of north and northwest North Carolina. Okay, so having said all that, there's the WPC snow probabilities greater than 1 inch. Excuse me, that's centered around daybreak Friday. And you're looking at that. This is day 3, so it's pretty far out there, but some decent probabilities there in the northern upstate. In fact, really good probabilities in the northern upstate, into the western and northern parts of North Carolina. So the bottom line is that I think the GFS is still struggling to resolve this system. Now, it could score a coup, but almost every model has that upper level feature, something similar to that, becoming a closed upper level low. And if that's correct, and I think it probably is, then I think the idea is very valid that you're looking at a little hit of some snow, northern upstate, and then especially when you get into North Carolina, I-85 points north and west through the mountains. It'll all depend on the rates of precipitation. If you don't get the pretty intense upper level forcing, you're not going to get snow in this scenario. But assuming that's correct, there is a chance for another little winter weather event Thursday, especially Thursday night, into Friday early morning. So we'll see how that plays out, but the potential's there. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.